Hello, and welcome to the updated preview of Connect for Health Colorado's new eligibility system, or NES. In this overview, we'll take a look at our medical assistance assessment tool and remote identity proofing, demographic questions, financial assistance questions, and post-eligibility medical assistance questions. First, let's take a look at our medical assistance assessment tool and remote identity proofing. Our medical assistance assessment tool are for individuals who are coming to the exchange and are unsure of if they should apply via the Colorado Peak application for Medicaid or CHP Plus, and for those individuals who may be eligible for just the tax credits through the exchange. This quick video will show the dynamic nature and the questions for the medical assistance assessment tool, with the results guiding the individual to continue to apply through the exchange. So by clicking on the Help Me Understand What I Qualify For, the individual is first presented with these questions to see if they qualify for any non-MAGI Medicaid programs for individuals who are over 65 or with a disability. Here on this screen, we are entering in basic information related to household composition, followed by entering in the income information for this particular individual. Now, it's important to understand here that we are not doing a determination for any medical assistance program or for the tax credits through the exchange. This is purely informational to help the individual figure out which door might be best for them in order to apply for an insurance affordability program. None of this information is stored. It is completely anonymous. However, this is an attempt, again, to direct the customer to the appropriate place to go ahead and apply for benefits. If a customer applies through Colorado Peak and are ultimately potentially eligible for advanced premium tax credits or cost share reductions, they will be directed to Connect for Health Colorado as it stands today. Likewise, if they continue through the Connect for Health Colorado application, are potentially eligible for Medicaid or CHP Plus, they will be then routed to the CBMS application. So this is still in support of the no wrong door approach and the single streamline application, meaning that dual data entry for two separate applications will not be needed. However, we are attempting to streamline the customer experience. So in this example here, the individual's income and household composition place them within the APTC CSR only household range. And so the screen here will direct them to continue to apply for financial help through Connect for Health Colorado. Clicking on the Apply for Financial Help button located on the screen will then take them to the account creation section of the application. For remote identity proofing, or RIDP, this new functionality will only apply to new customers who are creating an account through the exchange. Individuals who are already have an account through the exchange and enrolled in a plan will not be taken through the remote identity proofing screens and will just go ahead and apply for new coverage for this year. The remote identity proofing, or RIDP, is only for individuals who are filling out the application, meaning that customers who are doing the data entry and signing the applications are the ones who need to be remote identity proofed, not anyone else on the application. This is meant to prevent fraud. So individuals will be asked a series of questions that are only specific to them to make sure that we're able to properly identify identity. This does not verify citizenship, immigration status, or income. So the procedures for that will not be changing. And remote identity proofing only needs to be done once, meaning that once an individual has created their new account through Connect for Health Colorado, gone through the remote identity proofing procedures, they will no longer have to do so when they come in to either make changes to their existing coverage or apply for a new coverage year. So when an individual creates an account, once they jump into the application, they'll come to this screen, the Who Are You screen. You'll have the customer's name listed there as the top selection, followed by the selection for new authorized representative. This is not a broker or an agent or an assister who is filling out the application on behalf of the customer. this is for somebody who has a legal designation as an authorized representative, typically somebody who has power of attorney to assist the individual who is filling out the application. Someone else, this option is for individuals who are also included on the application but may not have been the individual who created the account. So in this instance, if the applicant Joey here created the account, if the spouse is the one who continues through the application process, they would be the individual who would be identity proofed through the system, and they would click the someone else option. However, in this example, we will assume that the client is filling out the application on their own. And so here what you'll see is by selecting the customer Joey, the information populated on the screen now related to their name, date of birth, address, and social security number will be pulled forward from the account creation into this screen. So as long as this information is correct, no additional data entry will be needed. If the new authorized representative or someone else selections had been chosen, then the same data fields would appear, but with no information previously populated because we had not gathered that during the account creation. Clicking the continue button, if we were able to then properly establish that the individual is eligible for remote identity proofing, meaning that there was a match within the Experian identity proofing system, so a vendor who is contracted through the Federal Data Services Hub or FDIS to do this work, these questions would be returned. So these are going to be specific to the individual who's being ID proofed. And these are similar to questions that you might see when trying to fill out other online applications, such as a bank loan. It's going to ask about previous or current places of employment, address, if they've had a bank account with a previous institution. Again, things that should only be answerable by the consumer. Again, these questions are not generated by Connect for Health Colorado. They are generated through the Federal Data Services Hub and the Experian service, nor the answers stored by the exchange and used for any eligibility determination. This is merely trying to electronically verify an individual is who they say they are in order to prevent fraud. Once the individual has answered those questions and they click continue, if we were to successfully establish that their identity was correct, then they would get this congratulations message and carry on with the application. If after 5 unsuccessful attempts to answer those questions, if the individual was unsuccessful, they would be prompted to call Experian, who again is the identity proofing service that is contracted through the Federal Data Services Hub, and contact them with that 1-877-284-7942 number in order to do some additional verification over the phone with the customer service representative from Experian. They would need to keep the reference number listed there on the third line, and this would help identify the particular user session in which the individual was attempting to be remote identity proofed. Again, the Experian call center is not a function of the exchange. It is a third-party entity used to establish identity proofing, and if that is able to be verified by following the prompts on the call center line, then the individual would be able to move through the rest of the application. If an individual was not able to see any questions related to identity proofing, or we were not able to send a successful match to the Experian service to be remote identity proofed, the individual will be prompted with this screen to provide manual documentation for their identity in order to complete the application for qualified health plan or advanced premium tax credits and cost share reductions. So the documents listed here would allow the individual to provide that manual verification so that we could properly establish identity. The individual could upload either one copy of a document from the top list there or a copy of 2 of the following listed on the bottom section of that list. The individual would upload the documents directly to their Connect for Health Colorado account under the My Documents selection. And this functionality is also available from the Upload Documents blue button there, listed in the lower right-hand corner. An important distinction to keep in mind for remote identity proofing is that until this has been established, an individual will not be able to move through the application. Again, because the intent is to prevent fraud, until we have properly identified the individual as who they're attesting to be, we cannot allow them to continue the application. There is no 90-day reasonable opportunity period to verify identity like we do with citizenship or lawful immigration status. It is a hard stop, and the individual will need to provide that verification in order to continue with the application. So now let's move on to some examples of demographic questions. These demographic questions will be asked of everybody who is applying for a qualified health plan through the exchange, regardless of if they are requesting financial assistance or not. The tell us about yourself here. This is going to be done on an individual level for everybody on within the individual's tax household or family who is requesting um, to apply for a QHP through Connect for Health Colorado. One important thing to call out here is that an individual who would like to apply for a qualified health plan, in addition to advanced premium tax credits or cost share reductions, needs to answer yes to the question here highlighted in the blue box to apply for health insurance. If an individual marks no on the application that they are not applying for health insurance, they will not be evaluated for either a QHP or APTC CSR. When verifying citizenship and immigration status, the application is dynamic and will only populate fields that are necessary in order to prompt the correct data entry to establish a match for either citizenship or for lawful immigration status. The example on the screen highlights here what we call field level validations, meaning that if the data entered into the field does not match the format that is specified or necessary in order to do successful electronic data matching through the Federal Data Services Hub, these error messages will display on the individual field, letting the individual filling out the application know that they need to enter in the answer with a corresponding format. Once an individual has been added to the application, if the person filling out the application would like to add additional family members to apply for a QHP and APTC CSR, they would do so by clicking on the blue link there, add a family member, highlighted in the blue box on the right-hand corner of the screen. Individuals will also be prompted to answer any questions related to life change events. This would apply for individuals who are applying for just a qualified health plan through the exchange and APTC CSR. The individual only needs to check the type of life change event that they are experiencing, select the individual experiencing the life change event, and enter in the event date. This date here, in the example November 1st of 2018, is what will trigger the special enrollment period timelines if somebody does have an applicable qualified life change event. Now we'll go ahead and do an overview of the financial assistance questions. So once the applicant has listed all of the members on the screens who are applying for a qualified health plan through the exchange, they then come to this screen here where we are asking them if they would like to continue the application for financial assistance to do an evaluation of if they are eligible for advanced premium tax credits or cost share reductions. The graph and the infographic on the screen are to give individuals a general sense of the income eligibility guidelines based on their households under which they might qualify for tax credits or cost share reductions. If an individual wishes to continue with an evaluation for APTC CSR eligibility, they would click that blue button, yes, I want to apply for financial help. If an individual was only looking to purchase a full price QHP without an evaluation for financial assistance, they can click the purchase a plan without financial help link, which will take them to the declarations and signatures page to submit the application. They would skip all of the questions that we will take a look at here in the follow-up slides. So once an individual has selected to continue their application to be evaluated for financial assistance, they then will list out the different types of income that they have with their particular situation. So if an individual is employed, they would select yes to the "Are you currently employed?" question, and then list out the different types of employment that they may have. So in this example, the individual has two types of employment, one that is through a job and the other that is self-employment. If you wanted to add more jobs or remove jobs, they can be done so with the associated links there located on the screen within the blue text. If they wanted to then continue with the application, they would click continue, at which point they would then be prompted to answer some minimal detail information related to their employment. So when somebody has employment income or wages through a job that is not self-employment, they would enter in the employer name and address, and these are required for compliance with CMS guidelines. And then they would enter in the income, the gross income amount, as well as the pay frequency for that particular job. For individuals who are declaring that they are self-employed, in this example, you'll see that uh, we are only utilizing or asking for the net income after expenses are paid for self-employment. So itemized deductions will no longer be required to data enter for an applicant seeking eligibility for advanced premium tax credits or cost share reductions. So this is a significant change from the uh, prior application for financial assistance through the Colorado Peak website. So for individuals who are applying for financial assistance that have wages from an employer, they would enter the gross amount. For individuals who are self-employed, they would enter in their net amount after all applicable business expenses. If an individual had other types of income, such as investment income in this example, they would check the particular type of income and it would open up that field box there to type in the amount and the corresponding drop-down menu to select the frequency. So selecting the amount and the frequency here would annualize the income that we would use for their eligibility determination. Once the individual has entered in all of their sources of income, we bring them to this summary screen. This is done at the individual level for people who are entering in the income that they are currently earning from various sources. So in this example, we've got wages totaling $24,000 a year, self-employment that is $24,000 a year, as well as some unearned income in the form of investment income that is $6,000 a year. If there were any deductions that were reported by the individual, these are IRS deductions, not self-employment deductions or expenses. They would be in the deduction section. And then you'll see the total annual income. So based upon what they've input into the system in those prior pages, we will total out the annual income for the individual, in this case, $54,000. If the individual anticipated changes to their income in the future, then they would select the yes option, and for the upcoming year that they are projecting their income, they would enter that amount. So in this example, the individual is projecting that their actual income for 2019 will be $50,000 rather than the $54,000. Once the income information has been entered, the tax status will be asked for the individuals on the application, and this is to build the correct household composition to evaluate their eligibility based upon the household size in relation to their annual income. If they select that they are filing a tax return and that they are going to be filing either married filing jointly, married filing separately, head of household, single, or qualified widower with dependents, they would make that selection. And if they had any tax dependents, they would select that as well. Once they move to the family overview page, this would give an indication of who is applying for the health insurance, the basic information, meaning that the demographic screens have been filled out, as well as the applicable information for the annual financial information. So in this example, you can see that the basic information is all complete. The annual financial information, we are utilizing the income that was declared for the 2019 future plan year in this example, and that is what will be used for the eligibility determination. I will call out on the lower left-hand corner the key there with the check mark and the exclamation mark. Those indicate which sections of the application are complete and which are incomplete. If a section of the application is incomplete, clicking on the red exclamation mark icon will direct the user to that particular page for the individual to fill out all of the necessary information. So in this example, we'll go ahead and show how the tax status, the dynamic nature of filling out the tax status questions appears to the user in real time. So depending upon the selections that are made, the screens will populate dynamically. We will use this to evaluate who is in the tax household. If individuals are part of a separate tax household, so in this example, we've got two households, the same questions will display and the individual will be able to indicate whether or not they are filing jointly, filing separately, single individual, etc. Clicking the continue button will then evaluate if or ask for individuals who might have existing health insurance. So again, keep in mind that the eligibility requirements have not changed, only the online application has changed. So if an individual has um, access to existing health insurance, they may not be eligible for either advanced premium tax credits or a qualified health plan. Here we will break out at the summary level the individuals in the different tax households, including any income that they are declaring on the application, and this is what will be used to determine eligibility for the advanced premium tax credits or cost share reductions. Once somebody has submitted their application, if at the end of the eligibility run it appears that somebody may be potentially eligible for Medicaid or CHP Plus, they will see some additional questions populated within the application in order to collect that information to finalize their Medicaid CHP Plus determination. The questions that you will be shown are not applicable for everybody who is asking or applying for financial assistance. They will only display on those applications in which an individual, one or more individuals, appears to be potentially eligible for Medicaid or CHP Plus. So again, if you are working with a customer who is applying for a qualified health plan without financial assistance, or you have a family who only qualifies for the advanced premium tax credits, you would never see these questions. These questions, again, display dynamically based upon the income information input by the customer and would not create a real-time eligibility determination for the Medicaid or CHP Plus. The individual would get real-time eligibility for advanced premium tax credits or cost share reductions. The information input in the questions that we'll go ahead and show on the video listed out on the next slide would go to our medical assistance site for data entry directly into CBMS. So again, the bullet points here highlighting that the applications or the information will only be asked of applicants who appear to be medical assistance MA eligible for potential Health First Colorado or CHP Plus eligibility, and they will be sent to the medical assistance site at Connect for Health Colorado for processing directly into CBMS. So I'll play this short video here to walk you through the screen flow. So again, in this instance, the individual has completed their financial assistance application for the exchange. And when they sign their application and submit, behind the scenes, the rules engine will evaluate for potential Medicaid CHP Plus eligibility. The exchange will not be finalizing Medicaid CHP Plus eligibility. That will be done by the state of Colorado as it currently does today. So this good news message would make the customer aware that somebody is potentially eligible for Medicaid CHP Plus. By clicking continue, they would get these additional follow-up questions. So this level of detail is required to finalize their Medicaid CHP Plus eligibility. These would not impact, or the answers to these questions would not impact the advanced premium tax credit eligibility unless there was a discrepancy entered here between what was entered into the information for the APTC CSR eligibility evaluation. Applicants will still be asked if they have any medical conditions or disabilities that might qualify them for a non-MAGI Medicaid program. So for individuals who might need a evaluation for nursing care Medicaid or in-home facility Medicaid, we would collect information for there, as well as information related to prior medical expenses if somebody is eligible for retroactive Medicaid. For the purposes of filling out self-employment information for individuals who might be eligible for Medicaid, they still do need to or list out the itemized expenses here listed on the application, and this information will then be data entered into CBMS. Once those few additional pages have been filled out, the individual would then come to this thank you page. The answers provided on those preceding screens would be sent to the medical assistance site for processing, at which point the individual would receive a finalized eligibility notice from the state of Colorado, indicating whether or not they are approved or denied for Medicaid or CHP+. So since this was a brief overview of some of the changes related to the new eligibility system for Connect for Health Colorado that will be utilized for open enrollment 6, if you have any additional questions or need additional information, please email those to nesinput@c4hco.com or reach out to your appropriate channel leads through either the broker network or the assistance network. There are additional materials providing in-depth screen-by-screen flows of applications through the learning management system available to certified brokers, health coverage guides, and certified application counselors. So again, if you need more information related to that, please reach out to your channel leads or email nesinput@c4hco.com. Thank you.